Hello, everyone. X-Wall Kill Bethelite here. And I want to talk a little bit about this show on Netflix. It's called Dirty Money. Now, it's a series on Netflix. I don't know how long it's been out. I just now found out about it. And I can't get enough of it. It's pretty much talking about crime that flies under the radar, crime that is legalized crime that somebody can do to you in your face, and there isn't anything you can do about it because it's legal to do it. For example, I won't spoil the show, but for example, there's an elderly gentleman, and this happens to a lot of people apparently, but there's this elderly gentleman, and he was under a lot of stress. He had someone harassing him about, picking up in his yard, fixing his roof, doing this, doing that. We'll report you if you don't do all this stuff. And he ends up having a stroke. And throughout all this stuff that's going on with him, someone in the legal field approaches him with a piece of paper and it's kind of like, hey, everything's going to be all right. We just need you to sign this so that we can do some work on the house for you, get everything straightened up or what have you. And what he is signing, which he doesn't know, but what he is signing is to make that person his legal guardian, making them his guardian. So once he signs that paper, they got his estate, they got his cars, they got his house, they got his money. This man has just legally been robbed. And guess what? Even if you can speak eloquently, you can talk. You're older, but you can talk. You can sit in front of a court and say, yeah, I didn't mean to sign this or what have you. You can walk around, you can do all this stuff. You just legally gave someone your rights. You no longer have rights at all. It don't matter that you didn't really mean to do that. It don't matter that you want those rights back. You just got robbed and there ain't nothing you can do about it. Like, this show is something else. It goes into other things that fly under the radar that people just don't really know of. It's illegal. For example, the people who have apartments and they want the residents out. Well, they do things like have construction going on outside with noise that's just way too loud. They do things to force that person out. They want to make sure that person does not stay in that apartment so that they can raise the rent. They want to raise the rent or tear it down and build something better or whatever the case may be. All kinds of things that are underhanded, illegal, that people don't even know is going on. And Wells Fargo's on there. When Wells Fargo was on there, that made me think about Watchtower for some reason. Things that were going on with Wells Fargo that definitely shouldn't have been. But back to this guardianship scam, which is legal. It's legal. Person signs this piece of paper. You got all their stuff now. You have just legally robbed them. That is interesting. And it makes me think about Watchtower's legal crime. Torture should be illegal. Torture is illegal, but it's legal for Watchtower. Disfellowshipping, shunning, essentially destroying people's lives and reputation and everything else. That's legal for Watchtower to do. I remember, and I'm sure you guys have experienced this also, and this is before people would get shunned or disfellowshipped. and be at a meeting and leave immediately after or before the last song was sung. Uh, I remember someone that I knew. I mean, obviously grew up in the hall, knew him, and talked to him all the time. Went to my book study. Their name gets read off on the stage, and it was taken aback. I didn't know that that was going to happen. It just hit me, bam. It had to have just hit a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of people didn't know outside of her family that her name was about to be read off on the platform. This is an adult, this is somebody that's been there, grew up in that organization. So she had pretty well entrenched friends and everything. It's not like this is somebody nobody really knew. Well, after the meeting was over, after they read her name as being disfellowshipped, people stood up after the last song and prayer, and they began talking to one another. And it's like it's just normal. They're all turning their backs on this person. And they didn't just up and leave. I think they rode with their family. They stood up and they kind of just look around, and everybody ignored them. Everybody. And they're just standing there in complete and utter shame. This is what Watchtower does. Instead of helping people, it's you do what we want you to do, or we're going to humiliate you. We're going to use a form of torture such as isolation. That's something that they do with prisoners to punish them. In jails. But their family can still come and visit on visits, to my knowledge. Watchtower, you're not talking to family, you're not talking to your friends, you ain't talking to nobody. And you better not talk to people who aren't in the cult who don't shun you, because we don't want you talking to them either. I'm talking destroying marriages and everything else. This cult is completely the opposite of what religion is supposed to be. It's supposed to be freedom of religion. You can go to this church this day, next Sunday this church, the next following Sunday the other church. If a church tells you to do something, you can do it if you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. If you don't want to go to the church anymore, you can stop going if you want to. That's what church is supposed to be in America. But this cult has completely overran the whole Freedom of Religion Act. You have to go to their church or their meetings, Jehovah's Witnesses, Kingdom Hall, Watchtower. You have to go, or else they're going to send people to your house to eavesdrop in your business. And if they find that you just don't want to come anymore, what have you, they're reading something on a platform that's going to damage your reputation. They need to damage your reputation because they don't want you to be able to speak out and damage theirs. So it's like they need to beat you to the punch. They may have found out that Watchtower is a cult, and they may have found out that Watchtower has been covering up child sex abuse. Let's hurry up and find out what's going on with them so that we can read their name off on this platform. As soon as they do that, we don't have to worry about nobody listening to them. It's legal for Watchtower to essentially require people to be door knockers and to distribute their magazines. And if you don't, they're going to be calling you, harassing you. How much time did you spend? I need to know how much time you spent. And if you didn't spend no time, oh yeah, they're going to send somebody. They're going to inquire. Like literal disciplinary action can happen as a result. And it's legal for a religion to take your freedom away and make it so that you have to do what they tell you to do. When I'm watching the Netflix Dirty Money, the man who had his rights taken away by somebody having him sign a piece of paper, he didn't really know what he was signing, and he was older. He was literally like, "Can you believe this happens in America?" And he still don't have his rights. They ain't giving them back to him. They took his stuff and they just keeping it. He's like, "Can you believe this is America and this is happening? It's legal to do this to people." And he breaks down crying because he is just in complete, total disbelief. Watchtower falls under that umbrella of we're going to do things that is essentially criminal. You're really not supposed to be doing it, but it's not illegal. It's legal crime. It's you're not supposed to do this, but it's legal, so there's nothing really anybody can do about it. We're going to use religion. I mean, Watchtower is basically a business that uses religion to exploit people for free labor, to exploit people who are electricians, people who have experience in construction, people who have skills that Watchtower wants to use. Well, we don't want to pay nobody, so we'll get that labor for free, and it's legal. Like Bethel, that's what Bethel is, a whole bunch of people working for free. The meals at Bethel, people act like, oh my goodness, they gave you a meal at Bethel that makes up for you working for years for free. No. The whole concept is they have to give you meals at Bethel because they are making you work for free. When I say making you, I'm talking they use their members as weapons to make people do things that they ask them to do. If you don't, well, your family's going to shun you, or people are going to treat you lesser than. If you want to be a part of our social network, you have to do this or that. I remember people wanting to leave Bethel, and their families are flipping out. Should be freedom of religion, right? You should be able to, if you don't want to work for free, let the kid go leave and get a job. Why can't the kid just leave and get a job? You go work for free. But you have people wanting to leave Bethel because it's just, you're in this little room. It is what it is. It's like a indentured servitude. You're not getting paid. You ain't got no money. And you're in this little room with this other person that you're put in there with. Y'all are sandwiched together, and y'all just got to work all week. And when you ain't working, you're supposed to be out in service or at the hall. I mean, you know, it's so you got people wanting to leave, and then their family's trying to force them to stay, or treating them like they're crazy if they left. Oh, you left Bethel, you must have did something wrong, so we're going to start shunning. That's the one thing about Jehovah's Witnesses, is they don't have to read your name off on the platform for them to start shunning you. They just think something's wrong, and they'll start shunning you. They just ain't seen you in a while, and they'll just start shunning. You'll just start seeing people you know in the store, and they'll start turning the other way, or avoiding going down the same aisle you're going to. It's that bad. That cult weaponizes people. They use people to love bomb to get you in there, and then they use those same people to isolate you, to force you to stay and do what you are told. That shouldn't be legal. Watchtower is trying so hard to push, or has tried so hard to push the whole we're better than a church. You need to choose us. We're better than a church. It's a business just trying to sell itself, that they didn't care when kids were getting molested and they had pedophile cases. They you got pedophiles running wild, doing what have you, but the cult doesn't want anyone to say anything because that kind of makes us look bad. You know, we're trying to tell people we're better than the Baptists, we're better than the Pentecostals, we're better than the Catholics, we're better than everybody else. Well, we can't really preach that if we got pedophile cases and these things are being reported to police and we got members being arrested and for all of this stuff. And so they're like, well, just keep this under wraps. Don't say anything. We care way more about trying to sell this business to people, bring in more people, get more donations, get more free labor. We care more about that than your kids. And it worked for a long period of time. I mean, Watchtower should definitely be on the show Dirty Money. Because, you know, you got people dying because Watchtower tells them they can't have certain medical procedures. Like, you got people who spend their whole lives working at Bethel, and then they're old and they don't have nothing. Literally, they don't have nothing. And sometimes Bethel may just get rid of them if they, again, aren't complying or don't do what they tell them to do. You got to toe that line, even though if you know it's a cult, otherwise they will put you out even after you spent, 40 years working for Watchtower. And they'll still put you out, even though those 40 years was free labor that they got, with you knocking doors, going to different countries, working at the Bethel factory for 30 plus years. They will still put you out. Like, this cult is unreal. It does stuff they shouldn't be able to do as a religion. They should just be listed as a business and then made to pay its workers, made to pay its workers, essentially. But Watchtower is hey, we'll make you build churches, or we'll make you build kingdom halls, teach you that churches are evil, and then once we're got the kingdom hall built, we'll sell it to that church that we taught you was evil and get money out. I mean, it's unreal. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know if you've watched the show Dirty Money. And if you watch it, does Watchtower just come to mind? Like, that should be on this show. Ex-Wallkill Bethelite. We'll discuss it. 937-789-4029. Ex-Wallkill Bethelite signing out.